So a monomial, you notice that we are learning some new words today. We have polynomial, monomial, binomial, and trinomial. So you should notice some key words there, or some key, like this is a combination of two words, mono and nomial, okay? So what does mono mean?
One.
Okay, and what does bi mean? Two, and tri. Okay, so a monomial would just simply mean one term. Oops. So this is one term. So far, everything that we've been doing with the exponents has been a monomial. It's been one term because there's been no plus or minus signs in between them. Okay, so a monomial can be anything from x to 3x squared y cubed. Those are all monomials. 5y to the 5th power. How about just a number? Numbers are monomials as well, okay? As long as they don't have a plus or minus sign in between them, they're just one term, okay? Are you with me? No plus or minus signs, right? This is what we've been using so far, monomials. Okay. Any questions? Okay, next one, binomial. So what do you think that is? Two terms. Anybody think they can give me an example for two terms? Well, that simplifies to a monomial. X plus y. Can x plus y simplify? No. And there's a plus sign in between them. So x is one term, y is the second term. Okay, another one.
2 minus 3.
No, because that simplifies, right? You could do 2 minus x or 2 minus x squared y squared or something like that, because that doesn't simplify, right? We're talking about like terms here. So numbers are like terms, so you can't have two of them together because those simplify. Yeah, just, y to the 5th plus 5x to the 3rd, a to the 7th. It doesn't matter, okay? Two terms. First term, second term. It's separated by either a plus sign or a minus sign, okay? And last but not least, trinomial. What do you think that means? Three terms. So a plus b plus c. Anybody else want to give me one? A squared. I'll just combine some of what you just said. A squared plus x plus c squared. Can we have minus signs in here? Sure. X squared minus x minus 6. These are all different. They're not like terms. We can't combine them because this is a square. This is just to the power of 1, and this is a whole number. So we can't combine any of these. So this is a trinomial. Okay. And obviously polynomials. All of those that we just talked about, monomials, binomials, trinomials, are types of polynomials. Polynomials just means one or more terms. That's the broad term. So if I were to say dogs, cats, and horses, what would be the broad term for dogs, cats, and horses? Animals. Okay, so same thing with polynomials. Or you could say mammals if you really want to be technical. Okay. Polynomials is just the broad term. One or more terms. Okay? Any questions? So today we're going to be combining them, which we already know how to do, right? Simplifying like terms, combining like terms. We're adding and subtracting today. Okay. Okay, we're not going to do that. I don't think this is on your paper, so we're not going to do that. Okay. Is this one on your paper? Circle the true statements. A monomial is a polynomial. Yes, it's a type. Good. True. 4a to the third minus 7 is a trinomial. No. What is it? It's a binomial if you wanted to make it true. Okay. A binomial is a trinomial. No. A polynomial has 2 or more terms. 1 or more. Good. 1 or more. Okay. That's it on that page. Moving on. Okay, so anybody know what these are called? Okay. And do you know what they what each shape represents here? Like what is this?
Negative. Shaded with a negative.
Okay, they are negatives, but these are x squareds. If it's a big square, then it's an x squared. These are actually x's. Okay, this is an x squared, a positive. This is an x. So what do you think these bars that are shaded in are? Negative x. Okay, so the shaded in are negative and the not shaded are positive. So what are these guys? Negative ones. They're not numbers, they're negative ones. Why are the x squared squared? Like, because if you did an x times an x, it would, like if you were to line up a bar times a bar, it makes the shape of an x squared. So an x times an x is x squared. It's kind of an ugly drawing. Okay, so all we're doing is combining like terms. Remember, if they have the same exponents, you can combine them. So negative x squared plus x squared, you can combine. How many is that? Okay, so we have it. No, it's not a negative x.
It's negative x squared.
Yeah. These zero pair out, right? Yeah. Negative x squared, positive x squared, zero pair out. So what's left? Negative x squared. Okay, now let's deal with our x's. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 positive x's and 2 negative x's. Yeah, so we have 2 that zero pair out. X and negative x cancel. X and negative x cancel. So we have 1, 2, 3 positive x's. And then what's left? Minus 2. So there we go. Combining like terms at its finest, right? Okay. So now let's actually get into looking at some polynomials. Okay. So addition of polynomials. So this first term, does it have a name? It's just a polynomial because how many terms does it have? 4. Yes, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in parentheses. It has 4 terms. So that's just a polynomial. Okay. Here's another polynomial. What kind of polynomial is this? A binomial. 1, 2. Okay. So because it has a plus sign in between, all it's saying is you're going to take this polynomial and add it to this binomial. So all we're doing is combining like terms. Tell me what would be a like term here. No? Be more specific. Okay, be more specific. Okay, start with like the actual biggest. We always want to start with the biggest exponent.
12a.
No, that's not the biggest exponent. The cubes are the biggest exponents. The cubes. A cubed, right? So we combine those. 5a cubed and 7a cubed is 12a cubed. Okay? What is the next biggest exponent? A squared. So we have 3a squared, 12a squared, and that's it. No other a squareds. So 3a squared and 12a squared is 15a squared. And then our last two common terms are negative 6a. Please notice you have to pay attention to the negative sign. You can't just disregard that. This is not a positive 6a, it's a negative 6a. And a negative 10a. So what is negative 6a and negative 10a? Negative 16a. And that is as simple as we get. So our answer is what kind of polynomial? It's a trinomial. I don't think it asked us that, but it's good to know. This is a trinomial. Okay? So that is addition of polynomials.
So I don't have my exponents.
You do not add your exponents. Why would you not add your exponents? Good question. Because we're not multiplying, we're adding. Remember, our foldable was when we multiply exponents, we add them. Like this is a totally, oops, let me get a better color. This is a totally different problem than what we're doing here, because there's no plus sign here. Okay, so this one we would use our rules from last week. 3 times 6, 18. X squared times x squared, we just add the exponent x to the 4th. Here you are not changing your exponents when you're combining like terms. You do not change them from what they originally are, okay? But some of you guys might get confused in your brain. Crap, where do I use? When do I add? When do I not add? Okay. If you're multiplying, you add exponents. If you're combining like terms, you do not change your exponents, okay? Good question. Okay, so difference in this one is that we are subtracting. Big difference, because that means that all of these guys' signs are going to change, because this really means that we're multiplying by a negative 1. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. 6x squared. Let me write it in black. 6x squared plus 8xy. So none of the first signs change, right? Minus 3y squared. But all of the signs in the second parentheses are going to change. So minus 2x squared minus 3xy and then plus 2y squared. So before you can combine like terms, you have to distribute that negative when you're subtracting. Okay, so now let's look for some like terms. Start with the biggest exponents. Well, we have x squared, we also have y squared. Can we combine x squareds and y squareds? No. So let's just start with the x squareds. And notice this 2x squared is negative, right? So what is 6x squared minus 2x squared? 4x squared. Okay. Next. Yeah. Negative 3y squared. We have some y squareds and y squared. So we have negative 3y squared and positive 2y squared. Negative y squared or negative 1y squared. Good. And then, yes, these go together. Plus 8xy minus 3xy go together because they both have xy's. So what's 8xy minus 3xy? Positive 5xy. It doesn't have to be, but grammatically correct math will go from from greatest to least exponents. Like if you were to see an answer choice on like a star exam or something like that, it would be from greatest to least exponents. Okay? It's not wrong if you write them in a different order, because it's like saying 2 plus 5 is the same as 5 plus 2. They equal 7, both of them, right? Okay. Moving on. Okay. Write a polynomial that represents the measure of angle ABD. So the measure of angle ABD, so here's A, here's B, here's D. So we're talking about this whole angle. So we want the whole thing. Thank you. So how are we going to find the whole angle? Add them together, okay? So we got to look for some like terms. What do we start with? Biggest exponent. 8a squared. Is there another a squared? No? All right, so we just 8a squared is by itself. Okay, what's next? Negative 2a and 7a. Yeah, negative 2a and 7a is 5a. And then we add we got our numbers, 5 and 4. It's fine. So that is the measure of the angle. That's as simple as you can get. Unless we know what a is, we can't make it any simpler, right? Okay. Okay, let's move on. Move on. Okay, so this is just the first row of that bottom left corner, right? Polynomial 1 is x squared minus 6. Polynomial 2 is 3x squared minus 10x plus 2. Find the sum. So again, this is just going to be combining the like terms. We have x squared and 3x squared is 4x squared. Can I combine negative 6 and negative 10x? Nope. So I just have how many x's? Negative 10. And then we have our numbers, negative 6 and 2 is minus 4. And that's it. So adding's pretty easy. Now look at the next row. How is that weird? Yeah, we have the sum, and we have one of the polynomials. How are we going to find the first one? So yeah, really we're doing 3x squared, the sum, plus 2x plus 1, minus, notice my parentheses, all of this guy. Okay, I took the sum and I subtracted our second polynomial. So what am I going to do with my change of signs, right? So 3x squared plus 2x minus 1, and it's all going to become negative, isn't it? Minus x squared minus 6 when I distribute this negative. Yeah, but you can, but it's going to get more complicated later, so you want to be able to come back to this when it gets kind of messy. Okay? I know exactly what you're saying. But when it gets crazy, make sure you remember this step. Good question. Okay, so, yes.
Why is it 2x minus 1? Is it supposed to be 2x plus 1?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just copied it wrong. Good question. So that should be a plus 1 out of minus 1 because it is a plus 1 right here. Thank you. All right, so now let's combine our like terms. 3x squared. What's our other x squared? Minus x squared is? So that would be a 2x squared. And then we have 2x and minus x is x. That should be a plus x. That's really ugly. Okay, plus x. There we go. And we have a plus 1 and a minus 6. Minus 5. There we go. All right. So I want you guys to try the last row on your own and see how you do and see if you can figure out what polynomial 2 is. Okay, so we're going to have to take our sum, the same exact steps from the previous problem, our sum, subtract our first polynomial, right? This is where it's kind of a good idea to do the distributing because it gets a little weird with the signs. 7x cubed plus 11, and then when you distribute your signs here, the negative 1, it'll be plus 7x. Oops, sorry. I don't know why I wrote plus. Minus 7x squared, right? X cubed.
Switch it around.
Plus 6x plus 3. What?
I did that one first.
This is the sum. It has to go first. Yeah. This is the sum. This one has to go first. You can't do the polynomial minus the sum. You have to do the sum minus the polynomial. Good question. Okay, so 7x to the third cancels out with negative 7x to the third, right? But notice we have a 6x sitting by itself. It is not a minus 6x. What is it? Positive 6x. Because for them to add together here, it's negative 6x and positive 6x will cancel to be no x's in the sum. Okay, and then we have 11 and 3 for a total of 14. So that would be our second polynomial, 6x plus 14. And you can always check, if I were to add these together, 7x squared plus no x squared is 7x cubed plus no x cubes is 7x cubed. Negative 6x plus 6x is no x's. Negative 3 plus 14 is 11. So we know that that checks out. Okay. Any questions on that guy? All right, last one. If you need more room to draw a picture, you have the whole back of this is blank, right? So you can show work on the back as well. The length of a rectangle is represented by 2x plus 3 feet. So let's go ahead and draw a rectangle. So my pretty rectangle. Well, it's not a square. Does it look too much like a square for you? You can't handle it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better? Better? Okay. All right. What's funny is on my screen it looks completely like a rectangle, but then when it, for some reason, when it projects, it looks a little bit more like a square. Okay, there's my rectangle. The length of it is 2x plus 3. So I'm going to label my lengths as 2x plus 3. Now, does it matter if the length or the width is longer or shorter? No. And actually, these might be the widths because the width looks like it's longer, but it doesn't matter. So the width is 3x plus 7. Find the value of x. Oh, the perimeter is 35. Okay, so this is an actual equation we're going to solve. We've done this before. What do we do here? Yeah, combine like terms. This is a problem that's easy for us. 3x, 3x, 2x, and 2x is
4 plus 6.
10x. Good. Yeah, just combine all of them. And 7 plus 7 plus 3 plus 3 is 20, and that equals, perimeter is 35. And this is a nice and easy solving problem. The perimeter of this whole thing is 35. So all we did was add up all the sides to equal it to 35. So subtract 20. So 10x is equal to what? 15. Divide by 10. 0.5?
1.5.
There you go. 15 divided by 10 is 1.5. And let's see if we answered everything. Find the value of x. We did. All right. Any questions?